What a glorious week in Columbus, Ohio. Although I'm not really sure what part of Columbus we're in.
Yeah, we have a new spot.
A new spot.
Look at these two guys. I know them.
Yeah, we made sure.
Yeah.
Representing.
There's still a Horseshoe Lounge sign in the corner.
Yep.
All right.
But something feels a little different. This doesn't. Justin Zwick, he's over there. Bobby Carpenter, he's over here. That's not normal.
Yeah.
Nicole Cox is on my right.
You get a much better seat today, so I just feel better sitting next to Nicole than sitting next to Bobby.
I love being in the middle.
I don't know what it is.
It's the vibe.
Rather than on the end. So this is great.
But we are not on Olentangy River Road.
We are not.
We're at an undisclosed Roosters location, much closer to my house. And we will be. We're just going to try it out for a little bit. What do you think, Nicole?
I think it's great. You know, we our Olentangy River Road location is going to be closed for a little while. We had a fire. Luckily, no one was hurt. We feel so grateful for that. And we just have to replace the hood system, so it's going to be closed for a little while, which is such a bummer. But Henderson Road, we're at the Henderson Road
Roosters
location.
tour. We just bounce around
the corner, literally around the corner, guys.
It's
like
10 minutes
a
away.
stone's throw is like I think like a mile is what they've said, or the way the crow flies.
As the crow flies.
You know what? It probably is about a mile and change.
Throw.
Yeah.
But
So
stone.
yeah,
And-
but we tried to make it still our
Feels
lounge,
home.
you know.
And we're a Jay-Z drive away from my house. This is my normal home.
Is that
location.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so-
And the staff is so excited. They're so excited we're here, which just made it great to hear that. I mean, they are so excited. I
These
love it.
guys.
I got to shut down this section. What?
No, they love it. They love it.
I think Jay-Z put that bug in your ear that you want to plan it all across Columbus and take us to every location, every Roosters
It would
location.
be
No,
fun,
this is
honestly.
the next closest one to my house. These two are perfect for me.
Guys,
If we do anything Sawmill, it'd be even closer for me from work.
you guys, you know me well enough. I went through my head on, okay, who's coming from where? Bobby's coming from the Woody. Austin's coming from its house. Jay-Z's Sawmill would be closer, but if you're coming from your office, you just pop right down.
Right down Sawmill.
I thought of all of us. Poor Berm, he's a little bit further away.
Well,
so,
No.
No matter what he
The man-
does, he's driving
The
hours.
man stays at my house for the rest of the season, so he is
That's
now
true.
much closer as
I
well.
love it.
And also coming from, we're like 1 mile north
Oh, 'cause
as
you're-
the crow flies,
yeah.
so he is closer as well. You saved him time.
Okay, I like it. See, guys, we were
We did
thinking it through. Thinking it through.
Good.
It's
You
great.
had official move-in day, Austin, over there?
A move-in day
Yeah, for Berm.
for Berm.
Yeah,
well, that'll
when
be
the freshmen move in, they get the big red carts out. And
That'll be Wednesday, so that we're going to have the paparazzi out front. Lib will be taking pictures of him
Okay,
coming in.
good.
He's going to have his T-shirt with his face on it.
I love it.
He's ready
From
for
last year's camp, yeah.
that. And that means that Camp Bob starts on Thursday morning. It's here.
Let's go.
You got Champions Dinner on Wednesday night. Get the guys together and camp get ready to go. I mean, I know your favorite event is move-in time when you get to go there and watch and document. It's kind of like a red carpet situation for a movie premiere.
Except worse.
Well, the movie is Ohio State football.
Yeah, but
The premiere happens later.
But once they walk off the red carpet at the team hotel, they're like, all right, get out of here. We don't get to watch a movie after that. We don't get to talk to anybody.
But you get the long build-up. It's a long tease till practice because you're going to be there Thursday and Friday.
That's actually why I don't have to go to the hotel check-in, because I've already seen these guys walking out on that red scarlet carpet out to the field on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, but what if they have some cool attire on? Some things you want to document.
You gotta
Find
get
out
that
who
stuff.
they're wearing.
The
Berm-
T-shirt.
Berm can do that.
Okay.
I don't need it.
You should have a room at the hotel so you really get a feel for what the guys are going through.
No, I'm good. I'll be all right.
Yeah, fair.
Nicole, you're going to come to practice on Thursday, right?
I'm taking this all in. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking about like, this is interesting. Why doesn't Austin go to that? And why does Berm have to? But I
He doesn't
really
have to.
Hey, I am showing up on Thursday. I'm
Jesus.
just whether I have a pass or not, I just want to see how things are looking, just take it all in. It's a great way to kick off the season.
Nicole, you've been through more of the Woody Hayes than probably anyone
God.
outside of Justin and I up here, like on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
You think?
100%.
100%.
Austin,
more
would,
just
Austin
not-
would concur with that.
Not the whole facility, just going
Most people,
down.
when they walk in there, they don't
when you
get to,
tagged
hey,
the-
Nicole,
on a more
how are ya?
consistent basis.
Yes.
That was the part. That
Yeah,
was
on a
definitely true.
now, you've been through and been around all of it, but Nicole, you go through there weekly,
Yeah,
like,
weekly.
and you go all the way down the hallway,
just
coaches'
that
offices.
hallway.
You have a
That-
thumbprint, don't you?
I don't have a
That
thumbprint.
hallway is like 120 yards.
It
You
is.
guys imagine you're carrying catering bags.
Well,
And
I
luckily,
see how
our
much it
catering
is.
team is incredible and they handle the catering orders now. But a few years ago, I was doing it. You're just holding the bags. You're like, okay, I can see the end. I can see the end. And then you're like, nope, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to take a break.
Oh, boy.
It is the longest hallway ever.
Yeah.
A lot of pictures you got to hang in there.
Yeah.
A lot of trophies and pictures.
All right, so that journey for the Natty or Bust Buckeyes begins on Thursday.
Is that what you're going to call it?
Well, they are calling it
there we
that.
go.
I was
Really?
going to ask what you thought, because last week we had Big Ten Media Days, and I feel like
Ryan was talking about pickleball tournaments and
well,
stuff.
He was, but he was also talking about
hard-hitting question.
leaving no doubt, not just trying to get one or two
Leave
plays
no doubt,
better,
knock them out.
but to take those plays out of the equation. I felt like, and I don't know if you guys would agree with this or not, that the way that this team is talking about their goals this season, the pressure or not pressure, it feels different to me. I don't know if you agree with that assessment or not.
I think that all those guys came back for a reason, and when you publicly announce that reason early on, I don't know how you can like backtrack on that. Mm-hmm. And so as you get closer to the season, people are like, "Oh, is this national championship or bust? Is this or this?" Like, well, I mean, I'd say like national championship or bust. Like things can happen.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
It's hard to win that many games.
Now this year it'll be easier to get into the tournament, but it's going to probably be harder to win it.
Yeah.
So outside of a cataclysmic meltdown, they will be getting into the 12-team playoff. Now, outside of that, hope you like to have a bye. So you're getting in there, so we have to win 3 as opposed to 4. But I would say that this team will be to that semifinal round. Now, getting to that point, health is a concern always. Just getting bounces. Like a lot. I mean, there's elements of the game that are really tough, as we have seen over the years that really haven't gone the Buckeyes' way, and maybe they're due up. Maybe
not just the bounce of the ball, but officials actually recognizing,
adjudicating the penalties correctly and making sure that things happen in the correct way, and maybe a guy doesn't have to leave a game that he's playing really well in. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of things. So I hate to. I mean, those things can all happen again. Like that's why Ryan said, leave no doubt, knock them out. I mean, it doesn't have to be close, but when you're playing other elite teams, generally it's going to be that way unless you're head and shoulders above, and maybe they will be, and we'll find that out during camp. But all those guys have publicly announced it. They all talk about it. They lean in. Like pressure is a privilege, and I think that that's something that it's very important that they say, because if you don't have pressure, it's because either you don't care or nobody else cares. And I know these guys care a lot. And let's be honest, Buckeye Nation cares a ton.
Yeah, they care a lot. And I think the fact that you have a lot of these veterans coming back who have been here for multiple years, feel okay saying, yeah, this is why we came back. They have that confidence in themselves. They know what the season was last year and how they got better and how they ended it. Realizing, all right, we didn't do what we wanted to. We want to beat Michigan at the end. I mean, I hear national championship, but let's not forget, the last 3 years hasn't gone well at the end of the year, and I'd rather take care of that,
right?
This year, and then go into the playoffs and see what happens. But, that experience of them just knowing what it takes and what they need to do, and another chance to right some wrongs, gives them that confidence to come out and just say it. Yeah, this is what we're shooting for, and this is why we came back, and, that's what our goals are.
I think there's also, like, a world, though, Jay-Z, where they could take that approach, those guys that have been through it for 3 years. I'm not saying that they should have done it this way, could have, would have, whatever. So, we know how hard it is to win at the highest level. For us to just say it's natty or bust, that's not really that can't be our mindset. Like, all we can do is take care of the first day of practice, and we've not won gold pants, and let's take it one step.
Yeah, there's definitely a way to just kind of.
They could have done that.
Could have, but no, they're jumping right into it and saying this is why we're here. This is what we want to do, and I think that confidence in those guys coming back probably helped. Those guys who were making decisions in the portal, like, man, these cats up here, they're serious about this. I want to go be a part of that.
I think it's probably because the standard is standard, Nicole.
I was just thinking about that the other day.
Yeah.
I was just
Are you on board?
Nicole thinks about it at night when she's going to bed.
I sometimes do. I was just thinking about like, you can't put the standard at national championship because
I think they did.
They did. They're like, I'm not putting that.
They're leaning into it 100%.
I don't know. I felt like I heard some of the guys say, though, like in their interviews and even Coach Day, I thought there was a little bit of talk about them just trying to take one game at a time and to kind of set their routine and set their culture and just to get their foundation. That's the word they were using, their foundation. And I think that's the most important thing. And that will lead you to the national championship.
So my feeling on that is this, and this is my read, and maybe they don't mean it this way, but the way I interpret it, Bob, was that if they treat them all the same, that's including Michigan, because their goal is the national championship. And in years past, basically every other year, there has been such a, microscopic focus on winning the game that it's almost distracted them from the rest of
What are you guys going to do this year to change? And,
to treat the first game whether that's Akron, it shouldn't be treated the same as Michigan. And I'm not saying that the level of opponent or the reward for winning is the same, but they'd get to the middle of the season and it would still be, well, maybe we'll hold some stuff back on offense to get ready for that one at the end. And I think that's sort of where I feel like there's a shift. When you change the target from beating Michigan, which doesn't give you a national championship, but can be included on the way to a national championship, that's where I feel like there's a shift.
So it's interesting because they've all talked about, their goals for coming back here, and I think that's important. But to Nicole's point, there's a sign that was in, and it may still be there up in New England when we would leave, and there was a handful of things written on it. And the top two were manage expectations and ignore the noise. And while they're setting those expectations high, like I think internally they're managing them. I think that's the one game approach, moving forward. There's some internal dialogue that I'm sure is a little bit different than the external dialogue. Mm-hmm. But then just ignoring the noise, the fact that everybody's asking about it, everybody's talking about it, they're controlling what they can control. And that's a function of like, you can't beat Michigan this summer. You can't win a national championship. You can lose those things. But just leaning in to the hard work, effort, and dedication that stuff is going to take, I think that's kind of a little bit more where they are. And when people ask, like, you're not going to lie about it. Like, this is why we came back. So we're okay with that. But I don't think that they're necessarily hyping it up. I don't think it's a trash talk. I don't think there's any of that. It's we all came back for this designed reason, but our actions and how we live, because these guys are as focused and mature as any team I've been around. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's not – there's alignment between those expectations and their behaviors. Because if those don't align, then it's empty expectations.
You guys, this is what the difference is. I couldn't agree more with that. I think that is exactly what this team has in their minds. I think, too, that the reason these guys, they've lost to Michigan, so now they have that taste. That's what gives you drive. And that's what I've said at the beginning, like, we beat Michigan for so many years that it just became expected, and it almost took the joy out of it. I mean, I don't want to say it took the joy out of it. Obviously, it was the
rivalry didn't seem the same
exactly
as prior.
And so now the guys are like, I've worked my butt. I was almost cussed. Sorry.
Geez.
Someone is ready for camp.
Let's go.
I can't wait. They've just worked so hard that now that's what's going to make them win it. It's not the trash talk. It's like, I want this so badly, and I'm going to do everything I can to achieve it. And I feel like that is the difference. And you're right, like, not the trash talk. And I do agree that the national championship should be the goal. Like, that should 100% be the goal. I just don't like using the word standard for that, because then it's like, I just feel from a mental perspective, that's kind of like, okay, so I'm just reaching the standard, and that's like the top tier. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of view it. So I like the goal. And then when you achieve your goal, I mean, that feeling, it's the greatest feeling ever. Right?
Yeah, right. 100%.
No, yes.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I didn't play football, but I played sports, and I like...
It's true in everything, Nicole. I mean, like, you're attaining your goal, setting up the goal, and then striving and going to attain it. Like, that is a very meaningful quest. And so, yeah, if it's the difference between, like, looking at it as pressure versus being compelled to do it. Like, are you doing it because, like, there's a reason you're being forced to, or are you being compelled to because that's what's driving you? And I look at it as like a push-pull scenario where the coaches can push you all they want, but it's better if you're being pulled towards a goal by your desire to be there.
Yep. And
so that's guys, coming on the weekends, taking care of their bodies. These guys don't really go out and party or do anything anymore. Kind of losers, and but
they care that much.
They care. Like, everything that they do is designed around that purpose, and so it's like a magnet pulling them there, as opposed to coaches just leaning in all the time. And that's the purpose of coaches, and they're there on the days that maybe you're not the best, but more often than not, these guys are being pulled by that level of excellence that they're trying to achieve, and so I think it's the goal, and the standard is the standard. Like, that's an expectation, but for these guys, they're expecting to win because of the way that they're living and what they're putting into it, as opposed to an empty expectation which doesn't have the behaviors attached.
And that goes back to the kids that they're recruiting too, because we want to bring kids in here who we're not going to have to, get on every single day. They're going to want to live that life of, I'm going to go to this event. Yeah, there's free beer and food and everything else, but I'm going to drink water and have a salad or grilled chicken. You know, and I'm going to be here and do my part, but I'm not going to take advantage of that because I know I'm waking up in the morning and it's detrimental to my body if I do. And, I mean, we've been in it multiple instances where we've seen these young guys and we're thinking back like, holy crap. Like, these guys are, I mean, they're in the zone. Like, they're not messing around with anything else. And, I mean, that, when you have that, especially when the older guys are that way, the younger guys see it, and that's how you continue to get that, you know, standard, you know, of guys coming through here and learning from the older guys and having veterans come back who could be in the league right now.
Right.
When you're a younger dude and you're seeing someone else doing that, and they could be in the NFL, that's probably an eye-opener saying, all right, this is what I need to be doing. I need to follow along.
Yeah, I think Denzel Burke said it best. He ain't come back for no BS.
I love it. I love it. Listen, you guys.
It was the best quote of me.
You had, I mean, the
I like
group,
that
the
quote.
group that Ryan picked, like we had talked before leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an honest bunch.
The truth tellers.
The truth tellers, and they're all different.
You don't typically get those on a media day
No.
like that either. You get the
They
guys
never
who you know are going to
took-
be buttoned up and
Most other programs didn't bring truth tellers. I can tell you that for sure.
Exactly. I never got to go to media day.
Yeah, Bobby was never there.
I was never invited.
not a chance.
You guys, I think they went though because their hearts are in it. Like you can just tell not that they're not before, but they came back because they do want to beat Michigan so badly. Gold pants were taken for granted. Everybody just expected to have a pair, you know, and now they're like, we really want this, and we're gonna know we did everything we can to get there.
Yeah, Jack
Come
Sawyer.
back for no BS.
Jack Sawyer was there, and he was asked about what it would mean to get gold pants. Like he's never had them. And when I got here and then covered this team through that winning streak, it's like that's almost unthinkable that there are people, and it's the entire roster.
You weren't here during the 90s.
I understand.
Where there would be like,
No.
you might get one pair, maybe a second. There's guys that didn't get any. It's almost inconceivable to think after that 20-year run. And so now you're on the verge of that potentially happening. And so I think that I don't think they're scared of it. I think they're leaning into it, which
Yeah.
is good.
They have to. What are you going to look for on Thursday, Nicole? What's the most important position battle to you?
I was listening to the show, some of the podcast dailies.
Oh, thank you.
And I looked back on
It's getting out of your silo.
my spring game notes, and I am really looking for. I have to agree with Bill. I'm really looking forward to seeing Bryson Rogers.
Okay.
I just was so impressed with him at spring practice. He had just
He's
some
really good.
He just played well.
He just was great, and I'm just wondering if he's going to kind of get incorporated into plays and just what he's bringing. And I'm excited to see the senior guys too. I'm excited to see. I know that they have been such leaders. I can feel it. Like when I'm in there, I'm one of those kind of people though. I like feel the vibes when I'm in atmospheres, and you can just tell that they've all just kind of really come together and feel confident in who they are and what the goal is.
I'm going to predict that Jay-Z says right guard.
tight end.
Oh, tight end. Okay, wow. All right, change it up.
No, I mean, I like the Bryson Rogers pick. I just, that's tough because there's so many guys. Like, who are those 3 to 5?
But he was a portal guy that came back.
It's a double portal situation.
Portal situation.
I mean, is it like when you go to the grocery store, like he kind of straddled the auto doors so it didn't close on him on the way back?
I think he got all the way into the entryway,
He was in the entryway.
but then you could like take 2 steps back and the door magically opened again.
Opened
There's
again?
sensors on both sides.
But when he came back out, that's what was just impressive is then he came back and had such a good spring.
Really good spring.
Like a lot of times you're like, this guy's in focus. Why'd he get in the portal? All this stuff that's said. And then he came back and it's like, okay, well, this guy deserves to be here. And I think he proved it to a lot of people.
There's just a lot of people in that room that he has to,
That's true.
to get over to get the. I mean, only so many footballs can go around the field.
Right.
There's only so many positions out there. I wish I could go on Thursday morning. I really just want to see Will in his first practice, in camp. Springtime. I imagine he's, got a ton of stuff going on, trying to learn a new playbook, trying to fit in with the guy. I mean, so spring ball, that's a wash for me. I'm excited to see what he looks like. He has to have a pretty good understanding of what coaches are trying to do, what the offense is trying to do. I would like to see how comfortable he kind of looks first day, even though it's the first day. I would like to see how he's, in command when he's in the huddle there. But right guard and tight end. And I go, those are my two sticking points every time I think about this season. More right guard than tight end,
Right.
but Ryan does like to use two tight ends a lot. We like to use different mismatches. Are we going to be able to do that this year? Are we going to have guys that if someone's getting beat on the edge, hey, we can throw a tight end over there and have him help, give us some more time. So I think those are two huge things. I don't know that, of course, on the first day of practice, you're not going to get that because they're not going to be getting after it like they will be here later in camp. Yeah. But, those are two big spots for me.
I like that tight end pick. I mean, they got our guy Kazmarek out there.
Yep.
He's looked good. G. Scott. I mean, I think everybody's waiting on Jelani Thurman to see what he can potentially do.
A lot of potential. We just have to see it, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you've got to turn that potential into production. And we've got to go through the metamorphosis to be able to get there. Goodness, I'll probably, and it's like cliche, I mean, I'm going to probably look at the linebackers a lot. It's a position group that we've watched grow over the last couple of years, and it's gotten really, went from having two seniors who had played a lot, and Cody Simon, who was like the primary backup and played a ton, started for both Steele and Tommy last year. So it's like Cody and guys who really haven't played at that position. Sonny played, but not at linebacker. CJ Hicks has played a little bit spot duty. Gabe Powers hadn't played much. I mean, there's a lot of young guys who we're going to watch who we saw in the spring look good, but now, like, spring's over, summer's over, now you're playing for keeps. And so how are you going to look? How are you going to interact? What's that going to look like? That's what I'm going to be interested to watch.
Well, we're 2 days away. Normally we'd be 3, but it's an actual appetizer threes day.
It is.
At your local Roosters location, which could be on Henderson Road. And they've got, what do we got here, Bob?
It's perfect
if you have a wood allergy.
One of those little guys.
If you've got a wood allergy and you love corn dogs, this is the perfect appetizer for you. It's got a nice mustard dipping sauce. It's the mini corn dog. You can dip them right in there. They're tasty. They're delicious. They're fantastic. And they're $3 all day long.
Tuesday.
At every Roosters location.
Mustard dipping sauce.
You guys want to know what else is going on?
What else is going on, Nicole?
The Buckeye Bash. The Buckeye Bash.
No,
giveaway.
something better.
Roosters Buckeye giveaway, you guys. And it's back. It's definitely different.
Better than ever?
It is better than ever.
Yes.
It is better than ever. So we have 3 drawings with 4 prizes in each drawing.
What?
And for this particular drawing that you can register for now, you can register
Already
every single
open?
day. Yes,
Okay.
opened yesterday, guys. It's launched. They're not here.
No, we don't have the.
Yeah.
Berm's
They'll be
got it
here
on the
soon.
screen.
It's on the screen. The QR code. Scan the QR
There you
code.
go. It's somewhere around here.
Somewhere around here. And register every day. We're giving away a trip for 2 to the Oregon game.
Hey, all right.
And then the second 2 drawings, there are all kinds of things. They're like exclusive Buckeye experiences. So like field passes, tickets to the games, seats at the Coach Day radio show where you sit and eat lunch inside the Woody while you watch Coach Day, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey.
I'm not even allowed to go to that.
But Austin invited
You got to sign up.
But yeah,
Well-
you can come anytime.
You can win.
And so we have a tour of the Woody, just all of these awesome experiences. And then we're also giving away 2 trips for 2 to whichever playoff game the Buckeyes play in.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It says
Sounds
here,
great.
Nicole, that yesterday, it was just open yesterday, 3 million people already registered.
3 mil.
That would not be the case,
How about
but
that?
Oh,
Jeez.
people have registered and we love it. So thank you to everybody who's registered already. And just register every day.
Roosterswings.com.
Yes.
already underway. And we're really excited for that. We're less excited for some tough news that we heard about a longtime viewer, Nicole. So
Yes, I have to bring up the sweetest. We just have so many sweet listeners. Roberta, who's here, and but Natalie sent in that sweet email a few months ago, and she lost her fight with cancer. Her husband Kevin reached out just to tell us because she loved this show so much and loved the Buckeyes, and her goal was to get to the Oregon game. So her husband and brother are still going. So Tara and I are still going to meet up with them just in honor of her. She just loved the Buckeyes so much. So just had to mention her. She was so sweet.
Yep, we were devastated to hear that news. We were thankful that she reached out and that we had been part of her fight.
So thankful.
Wish that it could have continued a little bit longer because I think this season's going to be pretty fun. But I know that family will all be involved, and our thoughts and prayers go out to all of them. So keep fighting out there, anybody who's dealing with that. And thanks to Natalie for reaching out to us.
Great.
All right, there's no easy segue after that, but we are going to take a break. Nicole's going to get on with the rest of her day, and Berm will be in here at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joy.
Roosters has been so fortunate. We just want to be able to give some of that back to the community.
They donate to organizations that are near and dear to their heart, and we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long time.
They will always go above and beyond to help support our foundation to further help veterans.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that Roosters supports the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Welcome back into Roosters. It is a fun, casual joint, and it is more fun than ever because Optimistic Berm is here.
He's here in the building.
Hello there.
Are you ready for Thursday?
Positive Berm.
What's Thursday?
It's the start of training camp.
Oh yes, I am ready for that. I like to think that I've been ready for every Thursday
Oh, really?
that I've ever been lucky enough to get to.
Wow.
Interesting.
Is there a Thursday you haven't been lucky enough to get to?
So far, this one.
Well, I told my kids.
The most important
fingers
Thursday
crossed.
is the next one.
I've never been to tomorrow, so
Yeah.
tell me what it's like when you get there.
No, I'm excited. Obviously, it is nice to get to this part of the calendar without a bunch of garbage happening, and it feels like a really fresh season. Everything's like lined up nicely,
Stars are aligning.
and
Like a fresh cut.
no, like because there's times when you get to this part of the year when there's been like, let's say like your program is waiting for a notice of allegations from the NCAA about like egregious cheating scandal, for
Okay.
example. Like, let's say
What an interesting hypothetical.
That'd be a dark cloud over the
hypothetically,
program.
like you
Heading into camp.
and let's say you're doing that with like a new head coach, and there's things where you could be like, man, this doesn't feel great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sure, you could be like, yeah, well, we just won a national championship, so maybe you feel a little bit better about it.
This
than-
seems very specific.
Still riding that
Yeah, I
high.
mean, yeah.
What I'm saying is there are times. Let's go back to 2018, for example, when Ryan Day's getting ready to start his first interim stretch.
That camp was not fun.
Right, like so there are times when it's not good.
Oh, you mean when Urban had just gotten suspended for
Yeah.
3 games and
Well, they hadn't done it yet.
Independent
so
investigations and
camp
all
started.
kinds of
Camp
stuff
started,
going
and
on.
they're like, well, sorry, actually, you guys are not going to be able to talk to players for the entire month. We're like, no,
Oof.
that's not going to work.
So there are times it hasn't been good.
Fair.
So this is good.
this is good.
I feel like those times might be better though, because everybody's talking
If it
about
bleeds, it leads. Sure, Justin. Sure, but
No.
you know what?
That's
That's
why
not,
positive Berm doesn't like those negative
No.
stories.
No,
I
you're
don't
my
want that.
bad. My bad.
I want optimism.
That-
Bright, sunny, sunshiny days.
That
And
camp was the worst. I had blocked that
Good
out of my
times
memory.
that you thought would never end.
yeah,
That's
thanks,
good.
James Taylor. I really like James Taylor's music.
Of course you do.
What were you guys talking about in the early part?
I asked-
This new setup is weird because I couldn't hear you guys at all.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, good. Yeah,
We
you're coming
re-
in blind.
We wrapped up the first segment by, just one thing that we were looking forward to seeing on Thursday. Jay-Z wanted to see Will Howard's first practice, and also, obviously, right guards. He took multiple.
I did. I slagged it up.
Bob wanted to branch out a little bit, so he's going to watch the linebackers. Something new for him.
That's nice.
And Nicole was excited to see Bryson Rogers because she heard Bill mention him the other day in our Under the Radar conversation, and then she referred back to her notes from
notes
Student
from
Appreciation Day when he scored.
Yeah, I had a nice spring.
I'm probably gonna go back to what I said the first time we got to watch spring practice, and it's like I can't believe Caleb Downs is in a place for Ohio State. So I'm gonna probably watch.
Yeah, you were pretty negative on that recruitment. You didn't think it would happen.
So
it happened in 2024, so that was actually positive, optimistic.
He
Berman.
said actually they lost him once before. They're going to lose him again. I think is what you
I
said.
do. I remember that now. Now that you say that, Bob, I do remember that.
I like where we're going. This is good. No, but there are very few players who can come into any program and make a difference. And guys like Caleb Downs are just very rare. But the opportunity to get to see him now with 7-8 months, helping the defense, understanding the defense, he's so next level ready as far as his football IQ and stuff. Like, we were not really able to see the fully formed version of what this defense could be in spring because it's spring football. But I'm just really excited to see what this defense looks like when everyone's out there and
A fully operational Death
fully
Star.
operational Death Star. And then of course we get to watch Jeremiah Smith.
Oh boy, that'll be fun.
Take a couple options there. I like it.
But overall, I'm just excited to see the guys having fun.
Everybody having a good
Want
time.
everybody to get a little exercise and have a great
I just
time?
want everyone to just
Just want
enjoy
to break a
themselves.
sweat when you're out there, just go have some fun.
It's not supposed to rain
It's-
Thursday, is it?
It's supposed to be very hot.
There is a chance
of pop-ups, I think, all week.
Yeah,
I would
this
prefer
weather.
a little rain because I think it's going to be insanely.
We'll be out there at 8:30.
The heat indices are going to be off the chart, is what I've been told.
It'll make it difficult if it does rain, and then they have to try and figure out what to do because Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
All
and
the
Sunday,
people there?
all the people that have tickets. I
How
don't
many
know
tickets?
where
Are
they would go.
500 tickets?
I can't remember. Jerry sent it out. I think it was capped at 500.
You probably pack 500 around the
It's going
indoor.
to be what the Northwestern football
I mean,
field
they have
looks like.
thousands
That's right.
in the indoor during Student Appreciation Day. You can
500
cram it
you
in
could
there.
manage.
Yeah.
It's suboptimal. We'll say that, but you could get it done.
But there will be opportunities there. I don't know how many tickets are left. I think a lot of the days are already sold out, but they weren't all the last time I looked. So if you wanted to see Ohio State practice or go hang out with Bob, Jay-Z said he can't go. Berm and I will be there on Thursday and Friday, closed to the media on Saturday and Sunday, which I think is a fair approach for Ohio State. I'm not mad about that in any way, shape, or form. But I'm excited to just hear again from Ryan Day about this new approach where it sounds like Jay-Z, by day 5, he wants to narrow down the quarterback reps.
Really?
Let's go.
That's what he said last
Day
week.
5, I like
We're
it.
talking by
So we
Monday.
got something
We're
out
talking
of
by
it.
Monday.
Next Tuesday. So they
Next
are off
Tuesday.
next Monday to move
Let's
into the
go.
hotel. They're going to go Thursday, Friday,
So a week
acclimation
from
period.
today.
A week from
So
today.
they know.
True.
So that's him saying, I know who it's going to be.
I'm not saying that that's what he said. It does sounded like it.
Well,
So
I think that's him.
If he's saying
Having a
5
good-
days
so
into camp, he has a
having a
good,
good idea.
feeling of what
he said
They're gonna
acclimation period Thursday. This is the most specific he has ever been, which is why I do think that it's possible that that's what he was hinting at.
With great specificity.
There will be the split squads that I love so much
Yep.
on Thursday and
I
Friday.
still don't like it because you don't have the ability, big vision to see what's going on in both places.
Okay, maybe you might be right,
It's tough. It's
a lot going on at one time. I understand that.
but it's also like confusing when you have half of a starting offensive line over
It's like
here.
an eyes wide shut situation. There's a lot going on, and you really can't focus on anything.
I like to be able to narrow my vision. That's true.
100%.
You know, if you see a lot, you don't see
anything.
You see a little, you see a lot. Is that how that goes?
Aim
I'm
small,
not
miss,
even-
aim small, miss small.
Yeah. Anyway, Thursday and Friday, acclimation period. I believe spiders on Saturday, Bob. Then maybe some full pads on Sunday,
Thumping on Sunday.
but still going to be breaking it up and rotating all 5 quarterbacks. And then what Ryan Day said at Big Ten Media Days was that they would probably start narrowing that down and giving the reps to the quarterbacks who need it by Tuesday.
He's probably going to
Day
narrow
5.
it down to like 3 potential guys by Tuesday.
You think it'll be down to 3?
I say 2.
I mean, I'm just saying you could say narrowing down.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. You could say narrowing it down to 4.
You know,
We're going to
like-
get these guys reps.
My biggest question about this entire month ahead is how much did last August's confusion at quarterback, how much weight does that have for Ryan Day heading into this camp? Because I cannot imagine he wants to go through anything like that again.
I don't think he does, but I think
No coach wants to go
He
through
had
that.
to, given the fact that there wasn't clarity provided by the players. And
Yeah.
so maybe this time you're trying to lean in on clarity. Maybe there's a little more clarity in the spring and summer than
Maybe
we knew
it's
about.
easier for players to have clarity if they have clarity.
You have to give
Yeah.
it to the
What's
players.
significant is the passage of time.
I'm just saying, like, I think
In the
And there is a
passage of
significance
time.
in that passage of time.
I-
Bob.
So there's been a passage of time through the summer, and that is why it is significant that that passage occurred, to make sure the significance of those reps will imply that the passage was all worth it.
I just believe that we are still dealing with de facto teenagers, okay, in a lot of these cases.
Well, Howard's 23 years
Sure,
old.
okay, fine. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He might be a
He's
little
like
bit different.
borderline
Last
slice.
year, last year, we're talking about the lack of clarity. I think it's on the coaches to say, this is what we're doing. Get on board or get out.
But then the problem is, if you say this is what we're doing, and it's like you driving down here and you're leaving the house, like this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you're getting on 75 north, and they're like, no, you need to get on 75 south. And you're like, nope, this is what we're going to do. And then you realize that you may be going the wrong way after a half hour. You don't want to have to double back.
That's a fair
So
point.
you'd rather take your time in the beginning
Yes.
to make sure you got on the right exit.
Get
My
the
point
funnel
is-
wide and figure that thing out.
The argument there is, of course, that you had no idea where you were going from the start. which I don't agree.
Passage of time.
You could have. I think your suggestion to this hypothetical is you would know what the roadmap is.
Right. Now, maybe you have
if
to
the road is closed,
maybe then you have to take a detour.
Then
But
you would detour.
If you just just going, that to suggest
And
that
if you're on
just
75, there's construction all the time, so you're screwed.
if you just believe you're just going the wrong way immediately, that's different.
Maybe not the wrong way, but maybe just a more circuitous route. I mean, you don't want to have to be like looping all around
You're
this
going
stuff.
270 and you forget to get on 71 south, so you gotta go all the way back around.
I
and
think
go-
they took a lot of unnecessary detours in this decision a year
To
ago.
provide more. Oh wait, how about in
Just
the
to give
spring?
people more time in the car. And the fact is, you don't need more time in the car when you've driven a lot, right? Like, you need to know, well, we got to where we were going. And then if you need a ride or if you have to have a different driver for the next leg, then
Stop
fine.
and get gas.
Then you tell people, guess what? You actually kind of didn't drive the car very well. And now we're going to let this other person try. As opposed to saying, well, you're both really good drivers. You're both doing so great.
Well, they didn't actually say it that
But that's
way.
how it.
We really beat that
Well,
metaphor into the ground.
I was going to take it one step further, which
Take
is
it.
like there
Lean it.
is always construction on the way to Indianapolis,
Oh, there you go.
which is where the Buckeyes are trying
But
to get.
what if you need multiple drivers?
You have multiple cars.
Well, you have
You
one
got
car.
4 or 5 sitting in the garage just waiting. You can only
Okay.
take one out at a time.
All right, I'm just curious.
And when you see, I mean, I think it's
I
like
think you made the point earlier this summer that you thought it would be probably Will Howard to be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone.
You said you thought Devin Brown would contribute in
I
a
do.
meaningful way,
I fully expect that Devin Brown is going to win a game for Ohio State.
and that's okay. I just wanted to make sure we got you back on the record.
100%.
I thought you went through and washed some of that stuff off the internet so people couldn't find it.
1984 it. It
Yes.
wasn't there. I never said that.
100% believe that Devin Brown will win a game or two for Ohio State.
Okay. All right.
But he's not going to be the starting quarterback.
Okay.
So why keep
So I keep doing this.
doing it?
Yeah. I mean, it's like over the weekend I see something online. It's like Maxwell Award people possibles, and Will Howard's on there. It's like,
Well-
how do we have this guy who his name is up for this award, and we're just like,
And that's not a knock
Maybe
on
he's the
Devin
starting
Brown.
quarterback,
I wanna be
maybe
very
he's not.
clear. That's not suggesting Devin Brown can't be the guy. He's just Will Howard was
The
not brought
experience
in
and-
to
yeah.
not be the guy.
What Jay-Z, what you're bringing up, I've noticed that as well because Bill and I were at the National Card Show on Friday, and Will Howard is doing
National
multiple
Card
signings.
Show?
Yeah, that's right, in Cleveland.
What's
He's
wrong
in the
with you?
spotlight. It was great.
You have anything better to do?
Yeah, I made a lot of money. I was good to go.
hey,
He's doing the events like that. He's on the Maxwell Award list. He's when they have the foundation events for the NIL, he's talking to the media. And when the national media is writing about Ohio State, it is like there is no quarterback competition. Normally, they would be the first ones to jump in line and try and get clicks and attention. Like this could be Devin Brown or Will Howard. Outside Columbus, there's literally nobody.
because
doing
everybody
that.
sees it for what it is. These guys went out and got a quarterback that they trusted could come in and be their starting quarterback next year or for a championship run. Spring ball maybe just doesn't jump off the screen like you thought. But again, he's going through a lot. He's
How
trying to
could
learn
it?
all this new
How
stuff.
could
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a tough spot to be put in. I think now we will see the Will Howard coming into camp. And
But
I think
the
it'll be
thing is,
fine.
this has happened in the NFL before, where a team goes out, signs a free agent quarterback, drafts a guy, or drafts a guy high, then drafts somebody lower. There's someone else on the team, and then there's
Sure, Brock Purdy.
you get usurped. Brock Purdy,
Russell Wilson,
You can
who
look at
they
Russell
signed
Wilson,
Matt Flynn.
Matt
They
Flynn.
drafted Trey Lance the year before. I get
Robert Griffin
I'm-
III and
I'm
our
not
guy Kirk
suggesting.
Cousins.
I'm not suggesting
You like that?
that Devin Brown can't prove in the long term that he can take the job. I'm saying right now we all know where this is going to go at the start of the season.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
like, there's no real mystery there. There's no there.
Do you disagree with that, Bob?
Sarah McLaughlin once said you're building a mystery. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I would think it's probably about 70% certainty that it's Will Howard. However, in those next 3 or 4 days, you're like, well, why wouldn't Ryan just announce it? It's like, well, because if you come out in the first start of camp, like, hey, he's our starter, and then you're like, this doesn't look as good as I thought. Now, do I need to open it up?
Now all of a sudden I'm going back and saying,
Yeah.
no, we got to open competition.
So,
and
let me
what I'm
ask
saying.
it this way:
First
It's-
week is good.
So if Berm is saying if they learned from last year, and if they had given somebody a more, whether it was Kyle McCord or Devin Brown, and stopped rotating and just said, "Here you go, you're the one," and you maybe get better results, you could still reverse course and detour if you wanted to.
You can
It
say,
doesn't feel as good, though.
You can say, though, we believe that you're the guy, but this is not promised. This is not your job forever. If you do not hold on to this, then
Tomorrow is promised
right,
to no one,
that's
Berm.
exactly right, Bob. It's not.
And I will say, as a quarterback, when you get that nod, it's different when you go to practice.
Yes,
as opposed to an open competition where you're just like, I can't make a mistake. I got to do this. I got to do that. Instead of like, I'm the guy. I can go out here and throw 3 interceptions in practice. I'm still the guy. They still trust me. They know I'm going to, so there is a mindset difference for a quarterback going through a wide open competition versus not.
What if you get the nod, and then one day they say, "Hey, come in. We're gonna have to talk after practice."
Well, you're gonna, because the way you've been practicing that.
Yeah,
you probably knew that meeting was coming because, this hasn't been that good,
and
right?
the other guys on the team always know. I mean,
Denzel Burke's going to let you know.
I think that there's...
It's true. I mean, it is what it is, right? Those guys chirp. They will be on it. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Go back to K-State.
Go back to K-State.
I think that there's a world where both those guys are going to be better off if they just know. And... it doesn't mean that you can't.
You think Ryan's had discussions with him before
I'm
this?
sure he has. Yeah.
Before he went out and talked on.
It's
I think he had to have those after spring. Honestly,
It's not like you by saying that. Okay, Will's going to be the guy. We're gonna give him the first chance here. It doesn't mean the other guys quit.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the other guys stop trying.
Some places does.
Right, but
and even what Ryan said, he's going to come down and say, "All right, these are the 2 guys that are getting." Because you just said you expect Devin Brown to win a game or 2 for Ohio State. He needs reps as well. You got to get Will the reps with the 1 if he's going to be the guy you think is a starter. But we also know that we might need this guy, so he needs to get those reps as well. I mean, it's easier to split between 2 guys than
I wonder how different this would be if Will and Devin were ostensibly different personalities, but they're really similar.
They're very similar.
Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's a little bit in that way. This is maybe a little different than a year ago. Because I don't think either of these 2 are going to be like mentally impacted as much as last year's competition was impacted. So I do think that is something that works in.
Are you implying that there was a psychological difference last year between the 2 guys that were competing for quarterback?
I'm saying that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
listen, Burma, I'm just looking for clarification.
You're around these guys all the time. Do you disagree?
I do not disagree with that.
Their personalities were quite different.
Yes, I would say where this year they are far more similar than different.
And even down the line, Lincoln's the same. What we know of Julian's the same. Air has been not back down from anything. Yeah. So I mean,
they're all very confident guys.
Yeah. So it's a little bit different, and I think that does allow Ryan Day to maybe push this off a little bit longer than he would have maybe wanted to, or like if you're taking a lesson learned from last year, like maybe that is what allows you to be a little bit more delayed. But I still think we all know fairly certainly, unless Will Howard goes out over this next week and just absolutely stinks it up, it seems unlikely that anyone else will be the starting quarterback against Akron.
I think that's probably correct.
Yeah.
Any good recruiting news, Berm?
Seemed like an interesting weekend.
Yeah. Alabama lost a couple commitments, so Ohio State's back to being the number 1 ranked class in the country, which is pretty good. That's about it. They didn't do anything else.
Is there anybody that
any big 5 stars that are going to be making decisions?
Nothing that's changed since August 17th.
I saw Trey McNutt was on the 3rd.
August 3rd for
we have no
Trey
shot there.
McNutt. That's not going to be Ohio State,
which is crazy. What's Richard doing?
There's a lot of layers to that one.
David Sanders is still August 17th. That's going to be Ohio State, Tennessee, Nebraska. He visited Nebraska and Tennessee this weekend. That's obviously what people are.
Do we need more of a celebratory impact?
I don't.
Like a barbecue?
Celebrations.
I want to be
summer barbecue.
I call it celebration. So out of Wedding Crashers, the picture that Todd painted. Do we need something like that?
I'm not sure
that he can take with him.
I'm not sure that would do that.
As a gift. I'm keeping the painting, Todd.
I'm not sure that would change things. But obviously, I mean, a month ago I started asking about, hey, are you guys doing anything at the end of July? They didn't want to. They figured they like where they're at. The players, most of the players in the program were home this past weekend. Yep. They were out of town. For Ohio State to host these big events, they want to do that with the guys on the team in
Like a
town.
Friday Night Lights situation.
Right. They want the players who come in to visit to be around the players on the team, so that they weren't going to be in town. That's part of what ultimately drove this decision. But it's also the fact that Ryan Day and his coaches are trying to win a national championship, and playing patty cake on a Friday night or a Saturday night and isn't really going to change things. Ohio State has done everything they can in the David Sanders recruitment to put themselves in the conversation where it's them or Tennessee almost across the board. Unilaterally, people believe that's the decision. So 6 months ago, nobody thought Ohio State could even be involved in this conversation at all with David Sanders, and now everyone pretty much agrees it's them or Tennessee. So the notion that they haven't been recruiting him or they didn't do enough, like, it's stupid, man. Like, it's stupid.
All right.
I'm just saying, maybe another burger and a hot dog at the end of the summer would have been nice.
There's no doubt. The Horseshoe Lounge.
There's no doubt that, like, I said multiple times in the last few weeks, I think it's a bad idea to not have a recruiting event, but I don't think it would have changed where David Sanders visited this past weekend at all. And I know that he said it in an interview. Ohio State wasn't doing anything, so I'm here. That's not the case. The Nebraska conversation was happening before that. He wanted to visit Nebraska, from what I was told, because when he was in Lincoln the first time for his official visit, none of their players were in town. So he wanted to get there and be around the rest of the guys on that team. He was there for a total of like 22 hours. It is, I mean, if you've ever been to Lincoln, Nebraska, it's not a fun trip to take in a 22-hour window.
Sure isn't.
But whatever. So understand this. In these major recruitments, these top 5, top 10 players, 99.5% of the trips that are being made at this point in the process, when someone's been somewhere a dozen times or half dozen times, it is all about leverage and trying to negotiate how much money you're going to make in NIL. So each of these trips is about, well, let's see what else we can arrange here. How does this decision to visit here move the dial? Does it make them decide to up their offer a little bit? And then when Nebraska ups their offer, then Tennessee and Ohio State are going to have to offer theirs, because no one's walking away from the David Sanders recruitment without giving every single
emptying the clip.
Emptying the clip.
Yes. So Ohio State has done everything they can to be in the conversation. I think they should have had an event this past weekend. I've said it multiple times, especially for like the 26, the class of 2026, the class of 2027 kids around the Midwest. I just think that any opportunity you get to have FaceTime with kids is worthwhile, but it wouldn't have changed where David Sanders visited this weekend. I don't.
If they didn't already have like 20, is it 23 or 24 right now?
24 commitments.
If they didn't already have 24, do you think they would have done something differently?
Yes.
Like most of the work is done.
Yeah, I mean, right now, as we've talked about last week, there's David Sanders recruitment that's still up in the air. They are still recruiting a couple wide receivers. One, Phillip Bell, who will make his decision on August 31st. Preston Bowman is a local kid who will probably visit in the season. He's committed to Kentucky. Messiah Delhomme, the safety from Virginia. I think the Buckeyes are trying to decide, like, do they really want a fourth prep safety? And you have a month to figure that out before he makes his decision. So, like, there's not a lot to do in the class of 2025 right now. So, and I think about the David Sanders recruitment specifically, is that the visit that really moved the dial for Ohio State and David Sanders was when he visited on May 3rd on a weekend when nothing else was happening. It was just him. He was the only person in town. He was the only recruit in town, him and his family. If he wanted to do that again this past week or even up until Thursday, he can. Okay? Like, nothing stops him from doing it. So I don't think that there are any remaining / outstanding questions about Ohio State and the fit and how they want him or the prioritizing. The only question left in the David Sanders recruitment for Ohio State is, how much is it going to cost?
Fair.
Well, if he hurries, he can get up here and have some
for $3.
$3 mini corn dogs.
Easy on the pocketbook.
It's perfect, and it is appetizer Threes Day.
Or he could have came on Monday and got 79-cent wings.
That's right.
Was National
Wing Day. Limit 100.
Why can't
fair? I mean, that's fair.
It's dine in or carry out.
If you're eating 100 of these wings.
Can I specify? I want to make sure people don't take that out of context. It's not to say that David Sanders and his family are only making a decision based on money, but the remaining questions that anyone would have about
what's it look like for
right.
Yes.
It's not
100%.
about like that's the only thing that's going to make a decision, but from an Ohio
That's the
State
final
perspective.
piece.
Right. That is.
I don't think we would want him if it was
Right.
only about that, right?
Correct. That is you're at the 2-yard line. So how do you get into the end zone? And that's where it's at.
Quarterback power.
QB power. Run
Always.
Dave. Run Dave.
One more drink.
We'll see that stuff all starting again. We're 2 days away from the start of training camp. We cannot wait to bring all that coverage to you on the podcast, and we'll talk about what we saw on Monday when we get back into here, our new home for the next couple months on Henderson Road at Roosters, this fun casual joint. Thanks to Nicole Cox and the whole team at Roosters for having us in here and giving us a new spot to talk with Justin Zwick, Bobby Carpenter, and Jeremy Birmingham. I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next week.